Happy Saturday to you. I hope everybody is having a great Saturday and a great weekend so far. We're back at it again. My name is Don Terrell. I want to welcome you to another great episode of The Color of Motion. I like to say, hey, stories come in all shades. And I highlight people of color and diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. If after 103 episodes you don't know by now you know. It's my favorite space. So, excuse me, man. You know the drill. Hop into the comments. Let me know, say, hey, where you tuning in from, so I can give you the shout out that, you so richly deserve. Also, make sure that you hop on over to the Facebook page or Facebook group. Join our group, become a member, facebook.com/groups/The Color of Motion. Come join in on the conversation. We're having a great time showing the industry news and having all around fun. So, hey, we want you to not miss out for sure. Also want to thank, of course, today's sponsor for the show, DG Graphics. They make your brand look good. Everything from motion graphics, animation, digital design. And hey, if you're a business or a company looking to start a live stream show, they can help you with that as well. They make us look good. They do all like graphics and animations and overlays and everything. So, they help us look good. So thank you, DG Graphics, for sponsoring the show. All right. I'll keep wanting to say Mr., but I'm not for sure. Mr. New Beans, Charlotte, North Carolina. Appreciate you tuning in and being a part of the show for sure. So thank you for that. Make sure that, you hop on over, check me out. You can connect with me on all my social platforms here. I definitely want to hear from you. Let me know what you think of the show, anything you might want me to try. Like I said, I got some new things lined up for season 3 next year, so super excited to be, unveiling that pretty soon. I'm telling you, the year is going by like that. A couple more weeks, it'll be Christmas. And a week after that, the year will be done. So I can't fathom it. The time just flies. Like I said, I definitely want to hear from you. We stream each and every Saturday to my YouTube channel. Definitely want everybody to hop on over there. LinkedIn, the Facebook group, and the website, colorofmotion.net. You can check out the show live. But I do always kind of highly encourage everybody to hop on over to the YouTube channel, check out, subscribe, hit the bell notification, get plugged in so you don't miss out on any new episodes or any great content that goes up on the channel. Definitely always adding to that. So please hop on over, be a part of the YouTube community. It's growing. So what else? Oh, like I said, if you'd love to support the channel, help me continue to make this great content. Hey, I love a great cup of coffee. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love a great cup of coffee? Buy me coffee /Don Terrell. You can donate whatever you so choose. It helps me to continue to bring such great guests as you're going to see and all the other ones, and help me to continue to make great content. So please hop on over there and, support the show. It helps me continue to go on and on and on. And like I said, after 103 episodes, like I said, season 3 is going to be even bigger and better for sure. Mr. Deveaux, happy Saturday from Birmingham. All right, Birmingham. I appreciate that. As always, tuning in. Looking forward to our event tomorrow for sure. Mr. New Beans, Roy Lee Hatcher. Roy, appreciate that. CEO of New Beans Incorporated, and I enjoy the show. I'm glad you enjoy it, Roy, and I'm glad you support the show for sure. So thank you for tuning in. Oh man, I think that's pretty much it for the housekeeping for the most part. Yeah, so we can get this train and show started. Like I said, I'm so thankful for my next guest. I've been looking forward to having her on for a while. You're going to be blown away by her talent. Just a super talented, not only illustrator but animator. So, looking forward to that. My next guest comes from France and was born in Paris and spent part of her adolescence in Bordeaux, in the south of France. Bordeaux. She studied art history for 4 years, did a year of communication, then 5 years of general 3D at the School of Isart Digital in Paris. After her diploma, she started working as an animator at Cube Creative on the Athleticus series, an animation series by Nicolas Deveaux with realistic animals that compete in sports. She then moved to Canada, where she has lived and still currently resides for 3.5 years now. She's worked at MPC, Mikros, and Blue Spirit. Her professional goal is to specialize in animation of creatures and animals. Please, everybody, help me welcome my very special guest and friend, Miss Melanie Pango. Melanie, so glad to have you on.
Hello, everyone, and happy Saturday.
Awesome. Like I said, I've been so looking forward to having you on the show, sitting down, conversating with you, digging into your journey. Like I said, I fell in love with your artwork and animation when I saw it and knew I had to get you on the show. And you can attest, you can confirm it. I've been trying to get you on for a while. So.
Yes, been a while trying to do something, indeed.
I think since season 1, I was trying to get you on. So. pretty good. Like I said, I finally, if nothing else persisted, I try to be. So
Yeah, that's I think the spirits like keep trying, and so yeah, so here
oh man.
I am.
Paris, France. First off, I mean, what was it that for you initially sparked your love for illustration and animation? I mean, were you always into it, or what was it that kind of drew you in
Oh, you mean okay. So for
when you were
illustration,
young? When you were younger?
yeah, I mean I was drawing like a lot when I was younger. Always trying to, I don't like copying thing kind of. I think like there is a lot of people learning like that. So what I was doing is like take a magazine and drawing a model or an object or something like that. And then because I know that my parents, they were like in love really with the animation process, so I watched a lot of cartoons, like Tex Avery, for example. Like my father is a big fan of Tex Avery animation.
Yeah, yeah,
uh, Also the Disney's movie, and yeah, I grew up like watching a lot of cartoons, and
yeah,
Don Bluth too.
yeah.
Like Bluth was like a big thing for me. And so yeah, so I know that was like something like people work on, but I didn't know that it was a job. I mean,
I
I
didn't
think
see the
like
consensus across everybody. I didn't know you could make a living doing this.
yeah, and then you learn and you're like, what? I can like earn money doing like something that I like. That's crazy. So yeah, I grew up like watching like a lot of films, a lot of cartoon. There was like I think for illustration, it was just like, yeah, I was drawing as a kid.
Yeah,
So what I wanted to do was becoming a drawer. I For me it was just like I want to draw and that's it. But finally I decided to go in history of arts because like for my parents, it was like maybe can work with just like drawings, so maybe find something you like. And since I really loved history and arts, so I
Yeah.
decided to do a combination with the two. So I learned that there was an art history learning in the faculty, so I decided to go there. And it was all about theory that I like, books that because I love books. I really like keep reading like all the time, and history. So yeah, I decided to do that because I didn't know that we can like have a job into the creative and like creative animation or creative like
Yeah.
area and industry. So I decided to do that, and since I was only doing theory, I was like quite a little bit sad because it. But since I still enjoyed like doing this for 4 years, it was like crazy. I really love like learning from arts, from painters. What I wanted to do was becoming a painting restorer.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, I learned theory, but I can still like doing some practice, and that can be related to history of arts. So I decided to do 1 year in communication because we were learning painting, drawing process, and everything. So yeah, I quit history of art to do this 1 year in Bordeaux and learning painting, drawings, and everything. And it was there. I was going to do 1 year preparing to some arts school for restoration. And I met someone who was doing animation. I saw that it was 3D animation, and I was like, wow, this is cool. So this was a blast just talking with him about his passion and everything. And I learned that it was like something we can do. So then I quit communication.
Let me leave this alone and let me go on over to some animation here.
Yeah, it's just like there is so much to do in a life. It's I every time I would just want to learn everything, and every time there is a new possibility. And so I was like, yeah, okay, this is like something I must dig in. So I learned in Paris there was a school like Isart Digital, the school that I did.
Yeah.
And they're doing internship at the same time that you were learning at school. So since I was old at this time, and that I already like started to have jobs besides school. Like I was working at Air France for quite a long time. I was working for a dog breeder, so I was like kind of already in the jobs life. So I was like, this is interesting because I don't want to stay at school for 5 years and not like growing in the industry.
Yeah.
So I find like this idea of internship interesting. So yeah, I decided to go to Paris, and I did like 5 years at Isart Digital, same time like the internship and everything. And so finally, after the school, I find a job like 1 month right after that. So
Oh.
that was really crazy because I didn't expect to find something, because I
Yeah.
wanted to do animation. And since at the school we were learning like more generalistic 3D, sometimes it's really good to know like all about the animation process or the pipeline and everything.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're good at like some little thing, but not all good at some one thing. And since the industry was trying to find more specialists than
Hmm.
generalists, I saw some friends struggling to find a job because they were like a little good at some stuff, but not like really good at one
Yeah.
thing. So for me, it was like I felt so lucky to find something in the industry only a few months after like graduated. So
Right.
yeah, it
Well,
was.
was that specifically what you were doing? Was it animating, or was it kind of a generalized, you were doing a lot of different things in 3D, or was that animation, that job that you got, was it animation?
We didn't have like a specialization when I was at school, but it's just like for the the student project. The last year we could like choose something that we were good at or we wanted to do for a living. So yeah, I just choose animation because that was like the thing that I was like feeling most connected to,
Yeah.
because I was really bad at lighting. I enjoy like modeling a lot. Like modelization is
Yeah.
really like thing that I learned as sculpting. So yeah, we were learning like everything, but yeah, in at the end we were supposed to like find a job, and most of the job in animation are more specialist job. Or if you are in a small structure, sometimes they're looking for people who are generalists.
Yeah. And I was
Uh,
just getting ready to ask you that. It was like, do you find that to be the case with like smaller studios that
mm,
don't have a lot of people, that they want people that can do a kind of a lot of different things?
mm. Exactly. But the first job that I found that was at Cube Creative, and it was like for animation, 3D animation. So I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Even if I remember the first test I did because there was a test for the people who wanted
Yeah.
to at Cube, and it was kind of off because I keep the animation and sometimes I'm watching because I like to watch like the old stuff that I used to do because it's kind of that you evolve and it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. You learn. You say, "Oh boy, I was really bad when I started out."
Yeah, exactly. And I know that I was bad because since I didn't came from a school when there was a specialization, I know that I could animate because it's all about, moving some controls.
Yeah,
So I was like, yeah, I'm animating. I can do it, but there is like all the principle that you need to learn. There is like all that stuff. So I kind of like was really bad at what I was doing, but since I get this chance, I was like, okay, this is an opportunity to learn,
yeah,
and that's what I want to do. So if you want to improve, you need to learn. So I
yeah,
was like, okay, right now I'm in the industry. I need to. My colleagues ask the seniors what they want, what I can learn from them, what I need to ask to grow. So what I did was that I was at Cube Creative. I was bad, but that was like for me the occasion to learn. So yeah, I did that test, and I remember a few days after that, they called me and told me that it wasn't that great, but
but hey, we
but
want you to come.
I mean, it's just like it wasn't that great, but since we had a meeting and I showed them that I was very motivated about the show because I know the director and I know his work, and I was just like totally like yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted to animate animals, and since in France there wasn't like that much studios were like doing this kind of projects.
Yeah,
I this was my chance. So I was like, this is really what I want to do. This is, I know he's worked for a long time. So yeah, I had all these arguments that like made me like really wanted to do this. I just like, yeah. Apparently, he saw that I was passionate about like anime, that I wasn't like really good at it, but maybe there was like something in me, like a
yeah.
spark
Obviously,
that
they
needed
saw the
to.
potential of what of your desire to do it. So, I mean, for you, because I think any animator will tell you they're almost like actors in the sense of bringing a character to life. Was that a kind of a another hurdle for you, to kind
Yeah.
of get a hold of, how do I give this character life and a personality?
Yeah, for me it was more because I really love acting. I was always like when I was a child, I was like trying to get attention, doing funny things, acting. Every time, like some people are saying, like your face is so funny because I like to mimic things, to imitate, to I don't like the the human face and the human body is capable of doing like so much crazy stuff, and I really love like climbing everywhere. I really love like doing this stuff, and I I'm so like I admire like people doing working in cartoons because they can like you know there is like all the thing that they can do with the character. I'm really bad at cartoon because
Yeah.
I'm for the moment I'm not really good at it, but I'm learning. But the thing that wanted me to go into the industry too, it was because I was very passionate about animals, documentaries.
Mm,
So what I wanted to do also, their first movie that I saw was The Lion King,
mm.
my first movie in theater, and I saw like animals moving, talking, and I was like, "This is neat," because I was 4 at that time, and I remember the moment when I was in the cinema, and I was like, "Wow, this is what I want to do." I have no idea what this is. Because for me, I didn't know that it was drawing, or I was 4, so
Yeah.
I had no idea. But yeah, like seeing people performing, acting, I think it's something crazy because I want to do like theater maybe sometimes because I'm sure it helps like when you want to
Yeah.
animate.
Yeah.
And for creature, it's something also very funny because you can do like some creature stuff. Being a human, and I don't like behave like a monkey. It's just like doing references like that. I just love it.
Well, I'm
I
sure you
really
watch a
love
lot
doing
of
references.
live animal references,
Mm.
like video of if you're going to animate a tiger or something like that. I'm sure you watch like live tigers and how they move and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. This is the part that I love too. I think this is like my part of coming from history of arts because I used to do like a lot of research in books on video, and I love like this kind of archive thing when you are looking for references. I can spend like all days watching at references, and also
Yeah.
it's fantastic because you're watching like animals video and you can say that this is for your job. You're like,
It's
I'm
for work.
working.
It's for work.
I'm working right now.
Oh man, for everybody just joining in, we are having a fun conversation with my friend Melanie here, Mr. Ty Walker. What's going on? I appreciate you tuning in for sure. Mr. New Beings has a question. Was the internship a paid internship? If not, what made you choose that company to give your time for free if it wasn't paid internship?
For the internship, it was paid internship because in
Oh,
France it's mandatory.
oh man, we need to move over to France.
Let's all move
we
to France.
we got a lot of
Also,
internships here that you just you're getting experience.
no, it was paid. Also, I wanted to do something like that was paid because at that time I was like kind of on, an adult, and
Yeah.
so I wanted to like have a paid job. So
Oh man, well like I said, that's awesome because I won't say most, but a lot of internships is not paid.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know that
Especially over
in
here.
the
Like I said,
US.
over there it's mandatory, but here it's
Mm,
not. So
yeah, it was mandatory, but it's like not a full uh paid because it's you're supposed to be in an internship, so it's like
yeah,
kind of cut in
yeah,
half, but it's still like money and
yeah, still
something.
money.
So, yeah, so because you're doing a job, and most of the of the company, sometimes you are like working as an employee. You're
Yeah,
not working like as an internship because in internship in France, you're supposed to work, but it's not like company material. You're supposed to learn in the company. It's not like working as an employee, but sometimes you're working as an employee, so you
yeah.
deserve to pay, obviously.
Wow, wow. Well, I'm pretty sure you're your parents were happy, you got into it because y'all used to your like you said, your dad and your mom got you into animation and
Yeah.
comics and illustration. So I'm pretty sure they were, happy like that most, you know, they don't quite see the value of it or how you can how a person can make a living, doing it. So they
Yeah.
always suggest you do something else or have a backup plan.
Yeah, there is a lot of parents who think that you can have a job by being creative or working in, I don't know, like cinema, or even because there is like this artist's vision. I
Yeah,
I mean, in France it's like that. When you want to go or be or like in like an artistic path or being an artist, people are like, oh, okay, so you're not gonna live like by drawings or I don't know. But I think like going into the industry, I just like kind of show to my family that you can like make this for a living. So, and I know that there is a lot of people struggling, or students, because they think that you need to graduate to have the paper. We show everyone that you
yeah,
graduate from a school and then you can work. But I know a lot of people in the industry, they just learn from online school,
yeah,
or
yeah,
even sometimes with YouTube or
yeah,
by themselves, and they are doing fine. They are
yeah,
really
yeah.
fine, and they are very talented.
Well, I think it's because it's not like a teaching job or something like that where they want to see, like you said, a degree or something like that. I think in a creative space, they just want to see your work. Can you
Mm,
do the work? Is your work good and up to par?
mm,
They
yeah.
don't care whether you have. And trust me, there's enough people in the industry that haven't gone to school, but like you said, have worked on their talent and their skill, and
Mm,
their work,
mm,
shows it, and so they get hired. They get hired just based on your portfolio and what your demo reel looks like or what your portfolio looks like.
mm.
So that's the good thing about, I guess, the creative space in a sense. Unless, like I said, you're going for a teacher's kind of instructional kind of degree or job, then they probably will want to see some kind of, okay, degree on art history or degree, bachelor's degree, or whatever degree on art history to know that you know it. So um, for you, and it's interesting that you said that because most people think, like, at least over here, that you want to see art. Paris and France are like the mecca of art. Going to see artists, the Louvre, places where the great artists came from over there. So you would think it would be a little more, I guess, realize that I guess you can. But then maybe they became famous, I guess, after they died. So I don't know.
Yeah, most of the artists. There is a lot of painters who died before they were known, and some very talented. I'm sure that dies, and everyone like forget that they work, and it's sad, but it's like history.
Yeah. Well,
History is stuff like that. So
do you feel like your art history, education has really played into your animating and your work to some degree, or do you feel like, well, maybe I would have been better if I'd have learned early on that I wanted to, just dive into it and skipped over the art history, or do you feel like that's a major thing that artists should, kind of learn, just the
um,
basic history of art and stuff?
for me, it was I'm not sure that it helped into my like in animation, but I think it helped me into the art process, like learning to write a scenario,
Mm,
putting like some idea into a storyboard. Because learning composition, like in history of art, you've got like all this stuff like going on through like years and years.
yeah.
And yeah, it showed me like, or to do some research, or to, yeah, do a storyboard or this kind of stuff. So I think it's important, but for me it was like it was important for me for maybe work skill, because I learned like how to I don't know, like communicate about an idea, communicate about like some arts, talking about art, like I don't know, like a painting or something,
Yeah.
say why the composition is important, why the symbols into the paintings are important, and why. So sometimes when I'm watching a movie, I don't know, like an animation movie, and I'm seeing a famous paintings or some technique, I'm like, oh, this is like the Caravage, or I don't know, I'm like giving an example, but it's just like I'm seeing like some video game, for example, that Ubisoft did. When I was at school, I was thinking about doing that, but they asked like some people from history of art to like gave some clue about like the history period,
Mm,
or what art, or maybe like the clothes or everything. And so I found that very interesting to have like history and arts
yeah.
kind of like coming into animation or even VFX movie or even in games, because that helped the creative process,
Yeah.
like with like facts actually, or ideas. So yeah, for me, I don't think it helped me into the animation process, because it's like more physics and motion.
Yeah.
But it's just like sometimes it helped me. For example, I don't know, like the movement, there is like some movement from this, I don't know, statues or
Yeah.
sculpture that I can see, and when I'm trying to have like my pose of like my characters or animals that I am animating, I know that it's important to have like some, yeah, some movement, some line of action, or yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I know a lot of animators who are not very familiar with history of arts. For me, it's just like a plus
Yeah.
in my education, because sometimes I can be very annoying and being like, this sculpture is like this one, there is like this kind of reference, and so it
Oh
helps me
man.
like kind of, I think, personally. But yeah, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's
Well, I wish I'd have done better. I have to admit, I was bored in our art history class for some reason. It just didn't. So I wish I'd have learned, listened, and paid attention a lot more. And as you get into it, you get a better appreciation for it. But I guess going through it is like, I'm not trying to be an art history teacher, or I want to just
yeah,
do
it
graphic
can be.
design, or I want to do animation. What's
Yeah,
this got to do
it
with
can
that?
be like very specific, but I think it's important because it's all about history.
Yeah,
Because we can see that from some painting on some walls in a cave somewhere, we've been through all the process to, right now when we
yeah,
are doing like some generated images or animation like through 3D, and that's is kind of impressive. Also, there is all this history through some fights with drawings, colors that like are making what we are now. So I
yeah,
think that's important as an artist to have this background of knowing where we are coming from with all this, with art, and
yeah.
where we are like going right now.
No, I agree. I definitely agree. Like I said, I think at the time, you didn't have much of appreciation for it, but as you get into your career and on your journey, you realize you know it does, like you said, it gives you this picture of where it started from where we are now for sure. Uh, Mr. New Beans, great point, Melanie. Either you have the skills and can do it, or you don't and can't. Yeah. And well, but I think to that credit is, like I said, you had the skills, and there's a lot of studios that, like I said, you know, they may see a little bit in you, but they might not take you on or anything like that, or say, well, come back and check it out. So, to that company's credit, the first job you got, they, brought you in and gave you the chance to get better. So I think that's always a good thing. Mr. or yes, Tide Howard, big facts, Melanie, for sure. Mr. Antoine, appreciate you tuning in. Another great animator there. Uh, Hi, Don. Hey, Melanie. Man, Melanie is so beautiful. She has a boyfriend.
As
He's
a
in
person,
the.
he's saying as a person, like,
Yes, as a person, which you have to elaborate on that there, Antoine. But we are having a fun conversation. Was for you, was it a big, um, obviously a big decision moving from Paris to Canada? I mean, what was the factor in? Did you feel like the opportunities over here were a lot more than what you would probably get at some of the studios over there in Paris, in
mm.
France?
Yeah, there is like more studios in Quebec
Yeah.
and than in Paris, for example, or even if in France. Also, the fact that I wanted to animate in VFX was a big change for me because I was thinking of London as a
Mm.
destination or Quebec. But yeah, I think here there is like a lot of possibilities for young artists because I was a junior at that time. I only have, I only had 6 months of experience, and MPC like got me into the studio to work on some crazy movie that I wouldn't imagine like I had the opportunity to work on. So yeah, for me it was a big decision because also you live in your friends, your family, you're going to another country, it's a different culture. It's also a different language because even if like here people in Quebec are speaking in French, you go into a studio and it's English only. So for me, it was quite a challenge to imagine myself talking another language, moving, working in a different country where the food is different, the people is
Yeah.
different. So, yeah, when you live in France, it's kind of like a heartbreaking because you know that you're living like some good stuff. Uh,
Yeah, it's like this isn't pizza. What is this?
this is a croissant.
Yeah, this is a
Oh
croissant. This is not a
boy.
croissant.
But yeah, you know, like it's for some people it's not like really that important, but you know, when you live in your roots, it's
Yeah,
like it can be like heartbreaking because you know that you're moving for work too.
yeah.
Also, I really love the culture we've got in Canada. I don't like the snow because I'm more like a person who loves sun, warm
Warm.
situation,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, so it was kind of like
I know the
having a
feeling.
little tear and be like, oh my god, I need to like brace yourself because winter is coming, and you. Right now, I'm working remote, and I'm very like happy to work like remotely because I don't have to go outside because it's cold
Yeah,
outside.
it should. It's getting cold there now. Yeah, it's getting cold now with winter and everything.
Yeah.
And I
So yeah, all of this that make a big
specifically moved from up north because I can't take the cold anymore. So
yeah, that's may I may go like I don't like in Australia or I don't know where, but anyway.
oh man. Again, we're having a fun conversation with our friend. We're getting ready to take a look at some of her work, some of her illustration work, some of her animation work. Like I said, she's a super and I was just amazed at your illustration work. Let alone your animation work, but you do great illustration work as well. Um, is that something that you make a point of also keeping alive, not getting just stuck in animation, but also fostering your other gifts and passions?
Yeah, I'm trying to draw as much as possible because that was like the first thing that I wanted to know to do when I was a little kid. So this is something that when I want to, you know, work on something and be focused on only one thing, I
Mm-hmm.
just like do a Saturday or a portrait that I like because I most of the time I'm doing portraits, and I like to portrait like my more of the like people of color, because there is like not a lot of representation or even drawing about like black or brown people. So
Yeah.
what I like to do is like going on Pinterest, and see like some beautiful picture from like amazing photographs, because most of the credits are going to photographs, because they are the light, they are the people who pose, who ask for the model to pose. Also the model are so amazing. Sometimes I'm just like, whoa, I need to draw that. I need to study this light, this person, because she's beautiful. So yeah, what I do is like going on Pinterest, finding some models, some picture that I want to paint, because there is like so many people that are so different, that are such particular like physical and face, and yeah, that's what I really like to do, is like yeah, taking the picture of someone and study the light, study the skin, study the shade, study the skin color, because there is like some people who are really black that I love, like seeing all the lights, or it's like doing with the skin. And so yeah, I like to draw when I got some times. I spend like mostly 8 to 9 hours sometimes on a drawing.
Oh wow.
And I don't know, that's something that I really like, because I'm in a bubble, and I'm just drawing. I'm just like study, trying to find. Oh, okay, this is working like that because there is this light coming from there, and I'm like, okay, yeah. So I'm going to try some pastel right now. Maybe trying to find out what it's going to do. I also like to paint, like in traditional, using acrylic, or using like a pen, like uh, crayon de couleur, like color, like only, because it's just like it's simple. You just have a pen, and you just like study something that you have like on a picture or an object. And this is something that I really like to do. And I'm I'm kind of a fast learner when it comes to drawings. It's not the case in animation, but when it comes to drawing, I'm just like, it's just like you need to focus on something and to paint or draw. And this is something that I really like to do, that I can find also in animation, because in animation it's kind of the same. You've got this movement that you need to, you need to translate into your 3D animation. And it's something that I really like to do, because it's all about like patient study, observation, and that's what I like to do in illustration and in animation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to focus on.
Trying to jump over to, and when having some technical difficulties with my other scene here to show your artwork. So we are going to, uh, let's see how we're going to do this here. Uh, wants to, I know, let's try this. Let's try this scene. Okay. But I'm going to change up a little something here. Give me a second.
I'm
Okay.
waiting for the music with technical difficulties. Da-da, da-da.
Oh man, yeah, I should have some of that elevator music there.
Yeah.
Okay, this I had to jump over to a different scene because this is kind of a test scene that I'm doing, but it'll work for this. And like I said, hopefully it will. Uh, okay, let's see how we're gonna do this because this scene does not have your artwork set up like my other one does. Okay, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Forgive me, everybody, for the technical difficulties here. Uh, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm going to I wanted to jump over to this thing here. This is supposed to be a different thing, but what I'm going to do is I am going to I'm going to delete me here. You'll be able to hear me, but you won't be able to see me. So I'm just going to turn off my camera here because the artwork's going to come in from that side. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Where is my artwork? Oh, man. Okay. Where is the artwork at? Oh, Lord. Okay. This is weird. My stuff disappeared.
I'm so sad that I can't help.
What happened to it? Okay. Geez. Not sure what happened to the artwork. Where did it go? Okay. Forgive me, everybody. Technical difficulties with the artwork not showing up. It doesn't want to show up now. Okay. So we're just going to jump over to her demo reel. Let's pray this works. Technical difficulties. Let's check out some of her animation work.
While the gray is choking the blue out of the sky, but the love's beaming from this little house of mine. See the sun.
I weigh 62 pounds, and it is very rude of you to ask.
Ooh, from the gunmetal gray explosions in the sky. Life's a tune that always change is the only constant we'll ever know. So till we go, we'll sing. Well, the rain came and soaked both us and our parade, but the fresh coat of green's only got the rain to thank. We are being uprooted by a hurricane. Woo-hoo. But the love beaming from our house will let us say, life's a tune that always change is the only constant we'll ever know. So till we go, we'll sing.
Some amazing work, for sure. I love the animation work. Again, everyone, my apologies for the technical difficulties. I'm going to throw some comments here. Mr. Antoine, yeah, but kind of the nature of live streaming is what can go wrong sometimes does go wrong, and you just have to roll with it when it does go wrong. Part of doing a live stream show. But rest assured, we are marching on. We got some good questions here. Where is it? Camille had a good question here. Okay. All right. How do you balance the desire of making the best impression with first drafts of your work versus understanding multiple revisions are a part of the process?
Oh, that was a long question. I'm not sure if I'm.
So how is for you the whole process of, I guess, making revisions to, your anime, or just refining the animation that you're doing, and getting through that? How do you balance, you know, trying to, I guess, give that first impression of, because I guess you're not going to hit it right the first time. It's very
No,
rare, I guess. Most
never.
animators, I guess most animators aren't going to hit it right, and they're always going to get feedback how to make it better and better.
Yeah.
For you, though, was that, um, I'll segue into another question, was that kind of a thing that you had to work on as far as your personality dealing with feedback or criticism? Because I know a lot of artists,
Mm.
I won't say a lot, but there are some that, as creators, we love our work and we kind of get tied to it. And so getting feedback, they don't take it too well. Was that something for you that, it was, it wasn't a big issue because you were trying to get better, or was it something that you had to kind of get used to?
No, it's not a big issue for me to have like critics, because I'm really open to critics since I'm not coming from an animation background. Like, this wasn't my study at first. Same for illustration. I just learn like by myself most of the stuff. I'm very open because I'm really glad like some people, like some seniors or mentor, are telling me that you need to correct this or that, because I don't know, I'm used to it, because I want to learn, I want to grow. Since most of the time in my life, when I was trying to learn something, I go to people and ask about it, because I don't think you can do things alone. Like, we are like
Yes.
social creature, and I think like learning, the process of learning is going through other people, like elders, I would say. So for animation, when there is like critiques or even like feedbacks, even there is a lot of feedbacks, I think you have to stay like open to any critics, because when you are working on a movie, it's not actually your movie, it's like some client's movie, and you need to follow notes, feedbacks and critiques, in like order to have like a functional movie at the end. When it comes to maybe like some personal stuff, I love to talking to seniors or to some moderns to ask about what I can improve, like more in a technical way. Sometimes it's about like the idea, because when you have to animate or even like to draw something, you need your idea to be clear to people who are gonna like receive like
Yeah.
the material. So for me, it's like all good. I'm just like, I love to say that I'm a baby animator. Every time like people I'm saying to me like, you're in a big studio, it's amazing, it's fun. And I'm like, I've got like so much to learn, you have
So
no
much.
idea.
Yeah. I think
So
that's a good attitude to have, though, that you're all, and I think even the seasoned ones will tell you that they're still, learning and getting better at this. Antoine had a great kind of question here. What do you, he's curious to know what you think about this new AI movement of doing artwork and animation through AI. Um, I think it's a kind of a dual. Well, I'll let you answer first. Go ahead. What do you think about a lot of the AI stuff?
yeah, it's funny because I was reading like some artist on LinkedIn saying that artists do not have to worry about the EA process. I think it was talking most about like the paintings thing, because it was saying that most of the EA were like stealing like some picture and trying to like doing like kind of a Frankenstein's creature with like
Yeah.
all the paintings and pictures that they find. And I'm I don't feel like threatened by this kind of stuff, because I think like human being, they need to see a creative process, they need to create. It's just like I'm worried about like um, maybe the labeling thing. Like I've got like some friends who got like their art stolen when it came to NFTs,
Mm,
and was quite like furious about this, because yeah, when it came to money, we know what like human beings are capable of. And but I think like it's gonna be a tool maybe to help
yeah.
some step in the process. But yeah, it's just saddened me to see like some people that I know being very feeling very threatened by EA. And I'm trying to follow like as much artists that I can, and
Yeah.
trying to gather their thoughts about what it's how it's gonna impact them. I think it's really important to talk about this, and also to maybe set some laws about like the A process. Like every time there is something new coming, I think in our life, it needs to get like have some boundaries, like very fast, because it's gonna be like I
Yeah.
don't like people are gonna do anything, everything. And I, 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 I can like call a people artists, because there is like all these steps in the process. I mean, like the storytelling, learning how to paint, learning how to create. It's something that some people, they are doing this all their life. Like we were talking about history of arts, there is like some painters, they get famous and recognized through their art when they were in their 60. It's a process you are doing like all your life when you are learning to paint, draw, or I don't know, animate. Or and I think that it's an interesting tool. I mean, for generated some images, this can be interesting, because I've seen like some amazing stuff from photos from, and I was like, wow, this is really great to create. I've got a friend, for example, is creating some creatures. He's also a modeler, but he's creating like some really good picture. And we had this conversation a few days ago, and he was like, I'm not saying to people that I am the artist through this process. I'm just saying that this tool is generating what I ask him to do,
Yeah.
and it's doing a good job.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, he's right, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's that's a like I said, it's a interesting question, Antoine, and I think kind of like NFTs, it's still early on, and it's kind of this wild west kind of mentality. And obviously, there's always going to be people that kind of use it the wrong way. I think um, the true artists understand, like you were saying, it's a tool that can help them in kind of maybe ideation or coming up with ideas. I've seen some visual effects people kind of use it to create the background, but then throw in their own, visual effects elements composited together. So I think it's going to be a good tool to kind of aid in the process of creation. My thing is the ones that I guess want to pass it off as, their art, which they created in a sense, but I'm kind of on the fence because, like you said, it's an algorithm that's pulling images, what it finds on the internet, and like you said, kind of Frankensteining it together to come up with a coherent, coherent picture. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a great tool. Um, and like any tool, you use it to kind of help you along in your process. I just don't, my worry is that it's passed off as original kind of artwork, so to speak, when
Yeah.
in a sense it's not really original. I mean, they're like I said, the algorithms still kind of pulling this image, this style, this something from the internet that it finds that somebody else created. So I don't know. Like I said, it's still early on,
Yeah,
way too early to
exactly.
tell. But I do always know that any innovation, anything that's created, there's always going to be a group or a certain portion of people that try and benefit from it the wrong way, so to speak. Just like NFTs, there are a lot of people that, like you said, your friend, are getting ripped off by other people stealing their NFTs or using their NFTs. So I think until it becomes regulated and has
Yeah.
really strict kind of rules, it's going to be this kind of, like I said, Wild West kind of thing where people are still trying to figure out, okay, what rules do we need to apply to this to make it, beneficial for everybody and safe for
Yeah.
everybody.
It definitely needs regulation. That's it. It's like everything, I guess.
Mr. Guerin, appreciate you, bud, for tuning in for sure. LinkedIn live master there. I appreciate that. Let's see. Mr. Garrett, I enjoy watching the problem solving more. Gary, you're a live streamer, so you know how it is, man. When equipment and things go wrong, it's just okay. I got to think through this, and so hopefully that's part of the charm of the show. I mean, I get it,
Yeah.
So I have to move on and kind of, make it the best I can. It helps keep me thinking on my feet for the most part, which is why I love live streaming. So, Mr. New Beans, what 3D software do you use mostly? Do they have proprietary? I'm sure they have their own share of proprietary stuff over where you work at.
No,
But they don't.
no. I was reading the last sentence. Saying,
Okay.
yeah, right.
Let me throw it back up. What 3D software do you use mostly? Have you worked in Unreal Engine 5 yet? Sorry if I missed you answering these questions already. My mom-year-old is running a fever and had to take care of her. We're glad. No, we want you to take care of your mom for sure there. But yeah, what 3D software are you kind of working on?
Most of the time I work on Maya and 3ds Max sometimes, but it's getting like old for most of the studios. So because most of the studio right now are using Maya and VFX. In future it's kind of the same, or sometimes they are like trying to have like some free software like a Blender. But I never tried Blender.
I was
Never
going to
tried.
ask you, what are your thoughts on like I said, because Blender is really starting to gain a lot of
Yeah,
traction.
I watched some videos, and I think when it comes to animation, it's kind of different because most of the stuff they can change, but we are kind of doing the same. I mean, like looking into the menus and everything for animation, it's kind of we are not doing this as I think some of the modeling stuff, or I mean, when you are like doing modeling, and some of my colleagues told me moving to another soft something can be painful.
Yeah.
For Blender, I think it's okay for modeling because most of the friends that are modeling told me that it was really great. But for animation, for me, it's just like when I move to 3ds Max or even Maya, it's more like the shortcuts. I'm kind of like lost for the first week, but after that, it's kind of the same. So, and I never tried Unreal. All I've seen is like some videos of Unreal demonstration, and it's just like blew my mind because I'm like, whoa, okay. So because it's like taking me back when I was playing when I was a child. I don't like on the PlayStation or even on some games on the Atari, and now I'm like, okay, we are going into this. it's crazy. It's just crazy. So yeah, I never tried it, but I work on a production. I can say what is it, but we were using Unreal to render, and every time I was seeing that, I was like, wow, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Oh,
Mis-
it's
Mr. DeMille loves your work for sure. Great reel. And again, everybody, please, forgive me because I did want to show her artwork because she does some amazing, amazing artwork. I'm gonna try and probably add that into the YouTube version when I upload it because, like I said, I specifically love the art style for sure. Thank
and
you.
my reel is so old because this reel is from 2020. So I've got like some new stuff coming, and yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm always aware that, like I said, most artists can't show the stuff that they're working on. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I'm so like frustrated, I'm like, I cannot.
so for you, what's been your biggest challenge on your journey so far?
Um, for illustration, it's doing okay. I mean, it's just like my constraints, because sometimes I'm doing like, I've got like some people asking me for Christmas or some events if I can draw something, a portraits,
Mm,
and so it's me like, it's like I'm doing freelance when I'm doing illustration, so it's my time, my constraints. I can do whatever I want. I've got like some time on it, and I can like draw on the weekend or in the evening. Or but when it comes to animation, I think like I'm struggling a little bit with animation because it's kind of I'm kind of new in the industry, so for
yeah,
me it was like more difficult to learn something new. And yeah, in the process it's just like I'm dealing sometimes with time, because
mm,
in the industry we need to we have a client, there is a project, there is like some time to spend on a project and no more.
yeah,
And I think like most of the struggling is about like doing something good and fast. And I think it's like most of the struggle for a lot of animator, because it's very time consuming. Like animation is time
yeah,
consuming. When you want to learn, when you want to take some times, I mean like your personal time on something, it can be like very long. um, and so yeah, in the industry, it's it's more that since I'm a generalist artist, for me it was like learning another process and learning fast. And yeah, sometimes I think like for most of people that can be complicated to find sometimes and learn by yourself
yeah,
with YouTube video, with some online animation school too. Because I did, for example, I did an animation mentor,
yeah,
and it was like only for 3 months, but it was like I never learned as much in 3 months that I ever learned in 3 years.
yeah,
So for me it was a blast. And sometimes I have some regrets to not have doing this maybe earlier. Learning like all the basics and going back, to the basics, to all the process. And so yeah, you need to have some times to do this.
yeah,
And I think that's what I want to do, like maybe later, because I since I'm in Canada, I only work on some production and never stopped. So I never took the time to learn. I do it for drawing, because I starting to do some portraits when it was COVID time. um, we were all remote. Everyone was like, what are we gonna do with our life?
yeah,
uh, Lives, what's gonna change? And so what I did, it was okay, so I always wanted to do how to draw digitally, like, because I knew I learned at school, but it was like not as much as I wanted at this time. So when I was at home, my day of animation was finished, And so I decided to draw. And I was like, okay, now I'm gonna draw and draw and draw. And I saw the process on 1 year, and it was just crazy. I was like, okay, so it's all about learning.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the thing is, if you are struggling with something, it's just all about practice. It's practice, practice, practice,
Yeah.
practice, and get a chance to talk to some professional so they can have like some feedbacks on your work, and yeah, just like do it like.
Well, do you think because I've read like several articles on this, and with animators, specifically visual effects people, but do you think it's the added pressure of people expecting more now from the films, from the film, more realism, more, just, you know,
Mm.
hyper realism, or just a quality that is expected that puts that kind of in there's and some productions have such short production periods that it puts that added pressure on artists to kind of keep up with the speed of what the studio is wanting to get from them.
Yeah. I think like now, most of the people who are going to theater, they have their eyes educated to like the VFX, the special effect, sometimes the animation, because we are consuming more and more like images and films, and now I can see that even like some people who are not aware of the process, they can say that a movie got like bad VFX or bad special effects, or the animation wasn't that great, because they are educated now from through their whole life watching
Yeah.
some animated contents or some VFX stuff. So yeah, I think now things are going like faster and faster, and I can see that also with all the juniors coming to production. They are even better and better, because when they are at school, they want to specialize in something, because they know now this is how it goes. And yeah, I think like things are going faster and faster in production. I can feel like people are struggling with the stress, and so am I. So
Well, how do you kind of balance out? Because, like you said, it can be a stressful job at times, just in the deadlines that you have to deal with and all of that. Outside of drawing, what are some of the other things that you enjoy doing that kind of takes the pressure off and relieves the stress of animating?
uh, the funny thing is that I really love to watch movies. So it's like I'm working all the
But
time.
are you watching are you watching from a critical eye, or do you find that you watch more from a critical eye or more from just the pure enjoyment of watching the movie? Because there are some people, animators or visual effects people that'll go to a movie and they'll sit there and like,
Mhm.
okay, I see
Yeah,
what they're doing here and
yeah,
there.
yeah. It changes you when you are in the industry, because you were like because you can see like all that
It's real
yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I'm going to theater, I think I must be like very annoying for other people, because when you're going to watch a movie, you're going back to the movie and you're like, this visual effect was really, and then you talking like as a the worker point of view, and not like as a normal human being who just like enjoy like watching a
Oh
movie.
man. I have
But
to
I
go a couple of times to watch it. The first time is just pure enjoyment. The second time is like, okay, from a
okay, we
creative
get it. Okay,
standpoint.
you're working in the industry. Good for you.
Mr. Dewan has a question. Wow, this one came in like really big. Let me size this here.
Yeah, but to answer your question, is just like most of the time I'm doing both. Uh, Really, like I can like watch a movie and have some distance, because sometimes the scenario is not really great.
Mm.
But I'm like, yeah, but the all the photography and everything was incredible. And but I think, yeah, I'm still watching like some movie as a people from the industry, and not like a sometimes I'm saying like people are models from Harry Potter, because we are kind of the magicians here, and for us it's kind of like knowing all the tricks and everything. So when we're watching a movie, it's very different from people who are not from
Yeah,
the
that
industry.
aren't in the industry and
Yeah.
watching it and stuff. So, Mr. Dewan, I have two questions for Melanie. It's tough for Black junior animators to get a position in the industry. What words of wisdom do you have to share that'll help Black junior animators get in? And secondly, what is the hardest part of working in the Canadian animation industry, since it's a little less wide than the U.S.? First question: um, what you know, what pieces of advice would you give, like a person of color trying to get into the industry?
Um, I think, yeah, it's complicated because like most of the people that I know who are black, for example, are in Africa. My father is coming from Ivory Coast, and lately I've been like doing some animation teaching,
Yeah,
and most of the people are who wants to come to Canada, for example, there is like all the visa procedure, and I know it's the same for the US. It's quite complicated to, try to get into the industry when you don't have in your country the film industry who can like guarantee you to work in VFX.
yeah,
Because I know that in Ivory Coast, for example, we don't have the structure. There is like some film industry, it's growing, but it's very slow.
yeah,
And so most of the people who are, for example, my age or even younger, they are dreaming to go to Canada or to I don't know, like the United States.
yeah,
And the most difficult is the visa process. But the thing that is great is that the industry really need artists and people. And most of the time, what I'm seeing, for example, for some of the reels that I've seen on Instagram, for example, there is like people contacting me on Instagram asking about their reel. The thing is that if you don't have a computer or anything to work with, it's very complicated. And sometimes some people of the countries, people that I'm talking to, they don't have
yeah,
computer or monitors, so they need to go into another structure sometimes on the weekend and work. And so it's very different. There is no school sometimes, or the school is really like have been built, I don't know, like 2 years ago, so there is no teachers. Or sometimes there are teachers, but they learn from YouTube. So sometimes when you don't have the structure of the
yeah,
school, it can be very difficult. Um, but I think for Black animator, the thing is that indeed I'm not seeing like a lot of Black people even in Canada. Sometimes it's just like remember me when I was in France. My father used to say hello to all the Black guys we were like meeting uh, in a shop or in the street, and I was like, what is he doing? This is just so weird. And when I get in the industry, uh, I just like see that I was doing the same, because every time I was seeing a Black guy or Black girl, we were like looking each other and
yeah.
be
You
like,
pick each other out. Yeah, I see.
wow, so you you does exist. That's crazy. Because
Hey,
indeed there,
I think it's
yeah.
a universal thing. When you're one of the few blacks in anywhere, even here, when you're the few blacks, and then you get into a company where there's another one, you look at each other. I see
Yeah.
ya. Yeah.
But it's
Uh,
like it's so funny. But yeah, I imagine myself like when I was little and be like, what are you doing to my father? And then when I there is another like mixed race girl at Mikros, and I I remember there was a party and we were like looking each other.
wow, there's another one of us here.
You think I've got afro hair? I know.
But you are correct, because I've had this conversation with a lot of the guests that I've had on the show from Africa, as far as like you said, the infrastructure and just having access to, a lot of them don't. It's not like here where they got access to a lot of schools, tools, and things like that. So while there are super talented creators over in Africa, it is much more challenging for them to get access.
Yeah.
It's getting better, and like some of them said, it's a slow process. We're a couple of steps behind America in getting the infrastructure, companies over here, schools over here, and things like that. It's gotten a lot better with the advent of online, learning. You can learn online and stuff like that. So you don't necessarily, if you have to go out to another country, you can, if you're so inclined, to learn online and get just as good. But I think their issue is going to be, like I said, getting the infrastructure of the industry behind them. And it's getting better now that you're starting to see studios like Disney partner with companies over in Africa, go over there, put studios over there and stuff. It's just gonna, like I said, they're just always gonna be a couple of steps behind us, because it's big over here in this country. And like I said, we got there, and that was funny because I had one guest on, and I think he was from Lagos. And he was talking about just, over there, it's a lot of them had to use batteries to power, and, just the energy, issues and things like that. So it's a lot of things that they're going to have to work through, and kind of, like you said, build up the infrastructure, and then to government putting more money into the industry. I think it's really going to help.
It's not the same chance for everyone, because every time like someone is asking like how I get into the industry, or I get to do what I love, it's just like it's all about luck sometimes. It's just like you have been born in the right country, and then you can access, for example, for French people, it's easier to go to Canada because they're like in the two countries that are like kind of and so you can like have a visa more easily. But for some people, sometimes I'm talking to people, they are saying that their visa, it get rejected, so they don't know what to do, because most of the people, they want to learn going into another country and then coming back, so they can like develop something, a school, and I think this is like a wonderful idea, because I'm sure that Africa can, like, there is like so much thing, there is like so much through mythology stories to tell. And when I'm seeing like some of my students were very passionate about, like, they wanted to like to talk about like their own story, because there is like, for example, in Ivory Coast, there is like so many things, so many tales, so many things that could do wonderful movies, like animation movie or VFX. But since like people are leaving because there is like no film industry or anything, sometimes people are leaving and are staying in other country. And it's kind of sad, but they don't have choice, because they want to live through the passion. And so this is the only choice for them sometimes, just to leave. And sometimes they can have the chance to come back, but they need, as you said, the infrastructure. They need something to keep going on their dream, and to teach people. That's something that I want to do, because I'm not from Ivory Coast. Like, I never lived in Ivory Coast. I've been for like through holidays, because my father is actually in Ivory Coast right now, and this is something that I wanted to do. Like, I'm part Ivorian, I'm part French, but what I want to do is like learn as much as I can, and then going to Ivory Coast for like kind of maybe 1 year, and just teach people like all the things that I know for the moment it's clear that I'm not ready for that. But in a few years, like when I've been a senior or anything, I want to go and teach because there is like so much to tell from Africa. There is so much things to show to the world that we are capable of doing things. We are capable to tell some incredible stories, and this is definitely something that I want to do. And I'm trying sometimes to talk to some friends, saying that this could be a great experience for them to go to Africa, because sometimes people are like, they don't see themselves working in Africa for some reason. It's always like Canada or the US or the UK or Europe, but Africa is like not an obvious choice for them, and I find like it's like kind of sad to.
Yeah. Now it's and this has been kind of the biggest, nicest surprise for me, is being able to connect with so many super talented creators over in Africa. Like I said, Andrew Kagia, that I had just had on a couple of weeks ago from Nigeria. Amazing animated film, and I think he just had his premiere for it. I saw him post of last week for it. Amazing animation, kind of a mystical African story, but the talent is there. It's just they need the resources, like any place, to really allow a person, a child, to flourish in that. Like I said, it's such a rich, we have such a rich history there. There's so many different stories to tell. Are you finding through your working with Afro VFX, which is the organization that Melanie was talking about that trains young people over in the Ivory Coast? Have you seen, like, there's a lot of people that over there that want to learn, but they just need the access. Was that something that was kind of surprising to you, or did you knew that, like I said, there's a lot of talent over there, they just need the opportunity to show it?
I think I knew it because through social media right now, because like everything is accessible when you have a phone, at least. I saw like so many people were like doing animation or even VFX. I mean FX, and I through Instagram, I find like so many people were already working for years, asking for some advice. Sometimes I was like, I can't give you advice because I just like I'm a baby. I just like, for me it's just by chance, since I'm in Canada. It's just like I mean I've put some work in it, but sometimes we don't get the same opportunity as our neighbor. And I was like telling a friend on Instagram, and telling him sometimes I'm like, you're a great animator, and it's just like you don't have the infrastructure. I know that maybe like dreaming about some blockbusters movie, it's incredible, but at least what is important is that you like what you are doing, and you are doing it in good conditions too, because it's really important to have a great team, to have people who help you, to have like teamworks, because like movies teamworks. and and for me it wasn't surprising to find so many people, because right now we were saying that everything is accelerating. People are seeing some stuff on YouTube, there are some seeing some stuff on the internet, and they know that they are capable of doing things. If you have like a computer, some monitors, and a mouse, you can do anything. So I was really surprised.
Yeah, and I think the advent of, like I said, such great software, and I always say this, you may not be able to afford Maya, but hey, learn on Blender, get your skills set up. There's a lot of free, great software out there that you're definitely able to make some great work. And, to me, it's all a tool. All the software is a tool in the hands of the artist. So artists can take a bad tool. A great artist can take a bad piece of software and make something good out of it. So just, take advantage of that. thing, but I would hope, and I am encouraged that more artists over in Africa now they may go abroad to get their higher education in the animation industry, but they
Mm,
are seeing the need of going back and
mm,
really bringing their skills and talents back
mm.
there.
I'm
Um,
seeing more and more people, when I've got this conversation with some artists, more and more people are saying to me that they want to go to Canada or the UK or anything and then going back in their country and develop something.
yeah,
And very encouraging because I think it's like the start of something. Like more is happening that we can imagine, and I'm very confident for what is coming next for those people.
oh man, I love my African brothers and sisters that I've connected with, and I tell them all the time that's on my bucket list to go and visit. So it's nice to make friends over there that I can visit now. Um, let's see, Mr. New Beans, man, as a startup, what that's what we offer at New Beans Incorporated. Training. I'm assuming you're talking training and helping junior black animators. I want to make this bigger. All right. Junior black animators should look into working on a startup that is well put together and help build that company's brand while earning equity or profit share in that company. Yeah. Um, I'm kind of on the fence on that. I mean, junior, I think, like I said, we get kind of caught up. I think most like designers or animators or creators in school, they get caught up of I got to work it. They're trying to get into Disney, they're trying to get into Pixar or wherever it is, these big studios,
Mm,
as opposed to, like I said, now you got these tools, you got all these great tools, you got all these great channels, YouTube, Instagram, all these free channels to put your own work out there until, you get to the point where, like I said, if you put your work out there enough and people get on it, they're going to come to you eventually. The studios are going to start because they're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. They're scouring the internet, looking at talent. They're on Instagram. Disney's on Instagram. They have somebody hired at Disney that's looking on
yeah.
Instagram, looking at
Yeah, social
YouTube.
media, it's all about social media right now. If you are on
Yeah,
LinkedIn, if you are
take
on
advantage
Instagram,
of it.
Twitter too, like they are chasing people.
Take advantage of it. I mean, it's free. It's a way to get your work out there. It's a way to hone your skills until you get to that point of getting into a studio, if you so choose to get into a studio. But I tell people, don't wait. Just work, get your stuff out there. Uh,
Yeah. And
and
people, they don't need to go into like big companies first. Like you can go into a smaller studio and learn even more from a smaller studio because people will have more time for you and you can grow even more.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
And plus, I think you'll learn the process. You'll as opposed to getting siloed in this one thing at a big studio. You're like, okay, you're a rigger. That's all you're gonna do, or you're an animator. That's all you, or you're a modeler. That's all, or you're a texture artist. Of course, a specialist, gets paid more and makes a little more because they're specialized in something. But I think as a a junior person or entry level person, it's good to start at a small because you learn the whole production process of
Mm. Yeah.
this, and this.
And it can be important to your job, for your job, if you see the whole process to know what you need to do at your step of animation.
Yeah,
Because sometimes I'm seeing like some animator, they animate things, and then I'm like, yeah, but there is fur on your character, so you need to do this. So the other departments are not going to struggle because you did that. And some, they don't think about this because they don't know what it implied to, I don't like, do fur or do lighting
yeah,
or anything like that. So sometimes I think it's not sometimes, it's really important to know the process and meet other people who are like from other departments to know what they are doing, why they are doing it, and just like talk to them.
Yeah, and you'll find out a lot quicker what you enjoy doing as opposed
Also,
to.
yeah, because
uh,
yeah, I was saying like earlier, for me, lighting it was just like, okay, I'm putting a light, and then I'm playing with the buttons, and I was like, this is not my thing.
but it's funny if you sat down and talked with a lighting artist, they'll talk about it in a whole different way because that's what
Yeah.
they love doing.
Exactly, because it's all about your personality, what you like to do, what you like have connection with. It's just all about that. It's not like there is no hierarchy into like different departments, or you don't need to say we are the best because we are doing this. We are the no. It's just like people doing what they like, and trying and trying to do teamwork to have a good movie.
Yeah,
That's all
yeah.
we have.
Like I said, while I can I know how to rig something and can kind of rig my own character. I don't think I could do it day in and day out rigging, But there's people that love to rig characters.
Yeah, it can be like small doses, and so you.
Yeah, for me it's small doses. I can't do it, and I'm definitely not a like a scripter, but I
Mm,
understand the power of writing scripts to
yeah.
get a function done, and there are people that love
Mm,
coding. Is this okay? Where's my makeup at? That's where I think working at a small studio, you'll find out quickly what it is that you really do and love
mm,
enjoying doing. Whether it be modeling or texturing or
mm.
lighting or animating.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna throw this up because it's funny. Mr. Antoine. I'm sorry, but I can't stop staring at Melanie. I didn't mean to embarrass you. And like I said, I don't think her boyfriend in another room with
He's in
he
the
would
room
agree
right
with
now,
it.
but
He would agree with it, but I don't think he would like it. So,
yeah. The thing
but
is also talking about like women in the industry. We don't want to be beautiful. We just want to work and be
be
recognized for our
recognized for the
talent.
she
That's
just
all we want to do.
she just wants to be recognized for her talent. But no, I would definitely agree with you there, Antoine. Definitely appreciate that. Mr. Jeffrey, we get it on. I'm not sure what's that. Yes, you must be from the motherland. That's what I'm assuming. If you could clarify that, Jeffrey, but that's what I'm assuming you're saying. We get it on people from Africa. And like I said, I am just blown away by all the talent that's coming out from over there. You always known it's been over there. It's just you know they need the tools and just the infrastructure to show the talent. And I think, like I said, I had this conversation with one. I think he was from Nigeria. That there's this perception of the quality, what Africa is really about,
Mm.
and there's so many stories. He's saying we have so many stories. It's just not lions or tigers or we're in the jungle type of thing.
Oh yeah.
What most people, which is what we see. So I'm always encouraged. Just all the different styles of stories. And ideas that are coming out, not just animation, but connection. He was on the show in season 2, Matthew Isukaman, VR. He does VR, and
Mm.
just the technology and the ideas that are coming out from over there. I'm just so encouraged about it. Mr. New Beans. Melanie, thanks for saying that. I agree that a small studio is a great start for beginners to learn and grow. That's how I got to where I am, a master generalist. And I think a general, like I said, I think it's good to know the process. It depends. Some people love having their hands in different things. Other
Yeah.
people, love to. All I want to do is model. All I want to do is rig. All I want to do is animate. That's fine too.
Mm.
I kind of lean more towards the generalist. I'd like to at least know, or at least have touch
How
in
done.
different things. And I think for me, it's different because I haven't worked at a studio. All the animation stuff that I've done is on my own, so I've had to do the texturing, the texturing and the animating and all of that, for sure. What to this point for you? Like I said, you're still on this great journey, beginning stages. But what's been the best piece of advice that somebody's given you that's kind of helped you continue to go on?
I think it was like an animator from ILM who told me that it's normal to learn. Like it's super simple, but it's just I'm used to push myself very hard to work on things, and when I can do some things, I can get like very frustrated. That just happened with drawing. That happened with some other like stuff. And when he told me that, he was like, you know what? I'm going to show you my first demo reel. And so he sent it to me, and I was like, wow. It's crazy, but it was a small thing. But I remember I was in an internship in Superprod, which is a studio in Paris, and Cube just like called me to tell me that I was like I've got my first job as an animator. So I was super happy, but at the same time I was like so anxious. I was like terrified because I was like, oh my god, I'm not as good as they are expecting. It's going to be a catastrophe. And so when I was talking to him like online, and it was just like, don't worry, because you're learning. As you said, you're out of school, you're going to learn your whole life, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's just okay. You don't have to worry about anything. And even if you like learn like faster or slower, since you learn, it's okay.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I think I needed to be like reassured of the whole thing about like getting a job and not being like super good at it on the first shot. And I got the same when I did like the Rise Up animation mentoring. And I've got like this animator who I talked to. He was like Andrew Ford. He's working at Walt Disney Animation. And when I had him and we were talking, I showed him my demo. I talked to him about what I was like. I feared because I told him I'm a generalist. I didn't learn that much animation, and right now I'm in VFX. I'm trying to do my best, but sometimes it's just like very difficult for me. And it was just like I did the same. I'm not like coming from like animation at first. It was a slow process, but right now I'm really happy with what I'm doing. And so I was like, oh my god, yeah, there is people like me. Everyone is struggling. And sometimes it's just like we need to talk to other people to just realize that you are not bad or good or anything. You're just a human being trying to learn stuff, and it's okay to not be good at it the first time, and you just like need to work on it, and it's gonna be all right. That's
And I think we forget that sometimes. Everybody starts at point one. Nobody comes out the womb modeling.
Yeah, that's why seeing that first demo is just like I think I'll rewatch it sometimes because I was like, whoa. Right now it's been like 8 years since he's in ILM, and his demo is just like wonderful. It's incredible, and
which goes into the point of what you were saying earlier, keeping your earlier stuff so you can go back and see the progress that you made over the time that you
Yeah,
spent
yeah,
on
it
it.
can be funny. Like you just like grab a bunch of friends who are from the industry, and you're just like doing a projection with your first reel. That could be fun.
Yeah, what was it? I was watching. They have a VFX company, Motion VFX. They sell a lot of like plugins and things like that. But they did a video where the owners, sat down and they showed their VFX shots when they were first started out, as kids, and it was like you just cringed. And they were cringing at it too. Just the quality of it, just the cheesiness of it, of the visual effects. But like I said, if you look at their work now, it's just light years ahead of where they started at. But I think, and maybe you could speak on this as well, because sometimes I think it's kind of a dual-edged sword. The internet, we get to looking at art, sites like ArtStation, or you get these young kids looking at sites like ArtStation and like, wow, my quality of work isn't like that. And we kind of gauge nobody is at the same place. Everybody runs their own kind of race, and you don't know how long somebody has been working at their skill to get where
Yeah.
they're at now.
Yeah, exactly. We keep comparing ourselves to some
Yeah,
who like have more experience or even sometimes less, but are more talented, but because it's all about work.
yeah,
And we don't have the same pace in life. I mean, sometimes people they are animator, but they don't want to stay working at home on their weekend and keep animating. Sometimes people they just want to have a break doing some sport. I mean, everyone is different,
yeah,
and that's it. It's just like you can like check on the like work from the others, but like trying to you know like find something that you like and maybe ask the person, oh, how did you do that, and learn from this. But from what I saw, there is no jealousy in the industry. There is
yeah,
no like there is everyone is very kind to each other, and when it came to learn, everyone is like so nice, and this is what I like also in the
yeah,
industry. It's just like no about like envy and because sometimes I'm hearing like some stories like some friends are telling from their work, and I'm like, what the heck? Because it's a lot like people stealing work from each other and blah blah blah.
yeah,
And in the industry, it's really different. Like even like if I can learn something from a junior, I will learn something from a junior, and it's gonna be wonderful because I learned something.
yeah,
So it's like something people have to keep in mind. And also, as you said, people are not like learning at the same
yeah.
like pace.
Everybody runs their own race, and it's supposed to you're looking to your left, and it's a hard thing to do, especially here in this country, because we're kind of bred on this kind of racing against each other mentality, or comparing
Mm,
ourselves, and especially with social media, you're always looking at how wonderful somebody else's life is, or how
mm,
wonderful somebody else's work is, and you really don't know you know the behind the scenes of it. We get into this comparison mode, and so it's a constant thing they got to work at. As far as you use it for inspiration, and like you said, the good thing is most creators are really great about sharing their knowledge. And if you come to them with
mm,
an honest, man, I'm really wanting to learn, I'm really impressed with your work, I'd love to know how you did this, they'll have no problem with sharing their skills or knowledge with you. um,
mm. Yeah,
and if
yeah.
you approach it like that, I think you'll go much further, as opposed to, like I said, kind of looking at it from a envy or lack of talents
Mm.
perspective. Everybody, like I said, has their own race that they're running, and if you concentrate on your race as opposed to where somebody else is at, you'll
Yeah.
be much better.
Yeah, because it's your life. You are in decision of where it's going to be. So take your own decision, and for what is good for you. And also for about social media, it's really helpful, but sometimes I know it can like be a bummer for some people because, as you said, you can see like how extraordinary people's life are and everything. But just keep in mind that if people are doing like crappy work or something that is not working, they are not going to show it on social media. I mean, most of the time, some people are doing it because they know all like this how much the struggle is to keep like working and being in a happy mind and be happy about everything when you're working, animating or anything. So they are not posting like their crappy works. They're not going to be, hey, let's see, I just failed, this is great. No,
I
it's
think the good ones, like I said,
so
I think the really good ones, they share their bad times as well as their
yeah,
the
yeah,
successes as well as their failures for sure.
yeah. That's
Um,
why it's really important to talk also about like mental health and
yeah,
why sometimes maybe you struggle with a studio. Like communication about this is very important because it's not about like flowers and sunshine in the industry. It's like sometimes people they have a hard time and
yeah,
it can be complicated to communicate about this. But I think it's important if you can do, if you want to do it also, like talk to people about like what it's really are, because sometimes it can be like very disappointing for some people
yeah,
because they don't expect that. They just see the final result as a really good movie, and then starting to work, and then it's starting to they're starting to get depressed because they didn't expect like doing so much OTs,
yeah.
working so much, not having feedbacks they were expecting. And so I think it's important to communicate about the job itself and tell the truth
Yeah.
about it. So
No,
mm,
I agree, and to have a life outside of
yeah,
animating.
yeah,
I think when you wrap your whole life into one thing, it can
yeah.
stress you out a lot more for
Your
sure.
friends and family and doing some sport and
All of that for sure. Everybody, again, we are have been having a great conversation, and we're getting ready to wrap this up because we are going on 2 hours here, way longer than I wanted to keep Melanie because she, if you don't notice, she's a little under the weather, so that's why I appreciate her taking the time to come onto the show today for sure. And again, I do apologize for any of the technical difficulties that we had. But just a few more questions. When you were mentioning about the software, it made me want to ask you, what are your top picks for free pro quality video editing software for those who are unable to get something like Premiere Pro or Sony Vegas? I don't know if you want to answer that for video
a few
editing.
years ago I was using DaVinci. It's
Oh,
like
I love DaVinci. As I'm
mm,
learning it now. Yeah,
yeah.
you want a grade free software? Get DaVinci.
Yeah, it's very intuitive for even for beginner, and I came to the pro software when I was in school to DaVinci, and it was like really great. It's
Yeah,
like
and actually their colors panel is industry standard. That's what most studios use to color grade their movies is DaVinci's, and it's in the free version. So, Dewan, check out DaVinci Resolve. Like I said, I'm learning it myself. It's a great free program, and even on they're not a video editing software per se, but even Blender, you can do some pretty. They've got a video editing portion to the software, so you can learn on that and still get great quality stuff. I've seen some great quality, animations that were done with using just strictly Blender. Um, so it's another one to check out. They've got a good little video editing compositor portion to their software too. So Mr. Antoine makes a great point. Never compare yourself to anyone else because your journey is your personal journey. Well said. Just keep going,
Mm.
for sure. Mr. Dewan, no problemo. Definitely, and I'll put some links in the show notes that you can check out for DaVinci and Blender as well. But we are, like I said, going to wrap this up because, like I said, I want to be respectful of your time, but I so appreciate, you taking a little bit of your time and even being a little bit under the weather to come on, Melanie, and be a part of the Color of Motion. Uh, Make sure, let's see if I can get away with this here. And I know what I'm going to do is uh, let's see if we can get a, let's
Technical
see if we
difficulty.
let's see if we can get away with this again. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk over this and put. I wonder why a lot of my text is missing. Here it is. Make sure that you. That's what I wanted to do. Make sure that you connect with Melanie on all her channels. Instagram. Check out. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to show her amazing illustration work, but if you go to her Instagram page, both of her Instagram pages, you'll see all the amazing work. I'm going to try and, like I said, put some up on the when I upload it onto the YouTube. But connect with her on Instagram. Check and see more of her demo work on Vimeo. Also check out what they're doing over at Afro VFX. They're doing a great thing, really bringing the industry, more of the industry, over to the Ivory Coast and Africa. It's definitely something I'm passionate about. That's why I have so many African guests on the show. You just, like I said, doing some amazing stuff. Also, 12 frames per second is another podcast that she animates on in French. So if you can speak French,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a podcast from two other animators that I met in Canada, and they are doing an amazing job. And they asked me a few years ago to animate sometimes some of the movies we are talking like about. And it's yeah, if you speaking French, if you want to learn French, maybe I don't know, like people
or
can.
hey, do like
Yeah.
I did and put the captioning on. You'll get a little bit better. You'll get a little bit of it, but definitely go check it out. Like I said, again, Melanie, thank you so much. Any final word that you would love to say, and you can say it in French to all my French connection there.
No,
Uh,
I would say like maybe in English first, like keep trying and like keep trying, keep learning about anything you like, you love, and don't like keep going.
keep like you said there, Antoine. Keep going.
Yeah.
I would ask, like I said, I don't know how many. I think I have a few French viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead
Yeah,
and
I
say
can
it.
hear that.
Go ahead and say it in French. Go ahead and say it in French if you can say it. What you just said.
Ok. Ben n'abandonnez pas en fait. Faites les choses que vous aimez. Soyez passionné et n'abandonnez pas. Voilà.
I tell you, on that note, hey, I got to do an explosion. Keep going is what it basically translates down to. Just keep going. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with me on the technical difficulties. I appreciate that. Definitely so looking forward to having you back on, Melanie, as your career just progresses and keeps going. Can't thank you enough for being on the show. Can't thank you enough for connecting with me, and just so happy about our friendship and just watching your growth.
Thank you for inviting me, and also sorry for my bad English sometimes because I'm I'm learning too.
It's like we said, it's a learning. Every life is a learning lesson. That's what we do until the day we die. We learn and we try to get better. So hey, I no problemo. If you could hang out for just 1 second in the green room while I close out the show, I would appreciate it, Melanie.
Okay.
But again, everybody, please help me thank again my guest and friend, Miss Melanie Pango, for being on the show today. Hang out just a second, Melanie, while I close out and wrap up the show there. Guys, gals, this has been, notwithstanding all the technical difficulties, this has been a great show, and I've had so much fun. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed it. Again, like I said, I'm so looking forward to getting Melanie back on the show again, maybe in season 3. We'll see. But I appreciate everybody for hanging, as I always do. I appreciate you for hanging with me, hanging with us. Miss Maggie, appreciate that for sure. And Mr. Antoine, I appreciate that. As always, I appreciate everybody that supports the show and supports the channel. Please make sure that you hop on over, check out all the show notes will be on the all the information and all the links will be on the show notes. So make sure you hop on over to the YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the bell notification, give a thumbs up, comment, because that definitely helps out the episode in the show for sure. But make sure you get plugged in, check out, get connected with Melanie, because like I said, you'll be blown away by her work for sure. So with that, like I said, this is, been a great episode. I've had such an amazing time. I hope you have as well. I really do. I really do strive to try, to make it the best I can. And again, Antoine, hey, live stream, you just got to roll with the things that happen. That's what happens when you do a live show. So I think I'm getting a little better at it, But I appreciate everybody giving me a little bit of their time today, as always. Make sure, like I said, that you tune in next week because it's going to be another great show for sure. Super looking forward to my next week's guest. It's Ladies Week. Ladies couple of weeks. Zena Masri, lead animator at Mikros. So I'm super excited about getting her on and having a fun conversation with her as well. So you don't want to miss out. With that, hey, like I said, it's been a blast. Make sure you, like I said, check out the episode or rewatch it. Also, make sure you hop on over to Color Emotion Net, the website. We got our swag here on now. Hopefully, you've been seeing some of the posts of people, wearing the shirts and stuff. So I'm looking forward to getting more of those out there. But hey, if you want to get your Color Emotion swag on, hop on over to coloromotion.net/swag. You can buy some good gear over there just in time for the holiday. So with that, have a great rest of the day. Have a great weekend. And I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Cheers, everybody.